Hey everybody, it's Max J. Miller, co-author with Robert Hollis of the upcoming How Is That Working? And we have been talking about a subject that can be very confusing to some people. The last couple of days I've been talking about how when a person breaks out of that quicksand of complacency and cynicism and resignation and all that holds them stuck in place, and when they commit themselves to leave the familiar, everyday world, so to speak, and to pursue with all the gusto and all their being a vision, the subject of identity comes into question. Immediately, challenges come up, and the individual, if you think of any hero story that you love and admire, you watch it, and you don't see if this happens, that the individual's own sense of self becomes challenged, like their own limits and so forth get tested. And in almost all cases that you can think of, if the hero is victorious in that story, they have to break out of that identity, that sense of limitation. And that sense of identity, the reason this becomes very confused is because it evolves and develops with us in time. And the question I have for you is it true that I am this person that I think I am? Is that the truth? And I challenge that and suggest that it's a narration. It's something that you acquired over time. Remember, we talked about peeling the layers of an onion? Well, because they grew that way. You start out as a child, you acquire, feedback from teachers and parents and whatnot, and you put together this narrative about who you are, and it has attributes. I have ADD, I'm forgetful, I'm good at math. The positives and the negatives, let's just say. And you put that whole thing together, and it becomes this narrative that becomes reality to you, about you. In other words, you look in the mirror and you don't see, this. By the way, I am growing the beard out so that I look like my picture on the back of the book again. Because I shaved a couple months ago, and I realized the book cover has me with a beard on it, so I'll grow it back. But you have this sense, and you look in the mirror, and what you see is not just exactly what's there, blue eyes, brown hair, whatever. What you see is these judgments and assessments and ideas and narrative that you have of yourself. And that's all staring back at you. So when you begin to call this into question, it creates a natural sort of state of confusion. And I love the great Buddhist saying that the path to the temple of heaven is guarded by the two twin dragons. They're actually big lions, but they look like dragons. And their names are Paradox and Confusion. And if you've ever been to Epcot Center, you know that in the China Pavilion, they actually have a replica, a scale replica, beautiful replica of the Temple of Heaven. And sure enough, on the big stairway leading up to the Temple of Heaven, there's a lion and here's a lion. They're very ornate. Westerners probably think these are dragons because of just the design of them. And they are Paradox and Confusion. So when you're on your way to enlightenment, so to speak, the path is fraught with paradox and confusion. It's, I don't get it. Well, that's because you're leaving old ways of thinking and acquiring new ways of thinking. And very often a mentor is involved, and the mentor is really challenging the familiar old ways of thinking of the disciple. And, think of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, or Yoda and Luke Skywalker. And, Yoda is saying, there is no try, there is only do and not do, right? And he's challenging, this habit of saying, I'm trying, I'm really trying. And Yoda's saying, okay, that's not going to cut it, right? You got to think a new way about this. So that's why that area is murky, and it's confusing. And part of the whole idea is that you need to begin to allow your own sense of self to be defined no longer by your past and what your parents told you and your teachers told you and so forth. You now need to let it be defined by your vision. Your vision says this is who you need to be to fulfill this vision. So grow into it, step into that reality. Step up to, you never thought that was possible for you, but guess what? The vision demands it. And this is just the nature of this hero's journey. And it's true in real life as well as it is in fiction. That you have to be willing to let go of the old and begin to take on and try on whole new ways of being. If you've been fearful, try on being courageous and bold. If you've been in the past disorganized and chaotic, well, time to get your act together and just focus on the things that are really making a difference now. And you can do that. It is actually within the realm of your ability if you're willing to let go of this fixated idea that you are a certain way. So it's attributes and it's also causal things like I am this way because, or my limits are this way because. You'll notice if you'll start paying attention to your speaking and how you talk about yourself and others and life, there are lots of clues in there of how your own identity is put together. And if you start to listen to what comes out of your mouth, you can, along with your mentor, begin to challenge these ideas. And as you do, you'll see that your interactions with others are altered as you really challenge those habitual ways of thinking about yourself and others. Some new possibilities for relating to people begin to open up, and you'll see that you start to produce results that you weren't producing before. So we're going to share more about that. Just a little insight. I was going to read you a little section. I guess I'm going to push that off till tomorrow. Thanks for interacting with me. The couple of you that do ask questions and interact, I am so grateful, and I hope that more of you will do that. Thanks for listening. Keep telling your story. Bye-bye for now.